Welcome to episode number 2 of the Hero's Journey podcast. Really excited. Today we have an awesome guest. His name is Sam, and he's a good friend that was one of the first people that I met in Colorado when I moved out here, and just does some epic shit, candidly. So really excited to pick his brain, get to know more about him. But yeah, Sam, I'll pass it over to you for what do you want the people to know about you? I'll leave it super vague.
Cool. Yeah. A brief overview of me. One, this is cool. This is fun to be here, fun to talk to you, fun to catch up.
For sure.
Excited. So right now, I guess I can describe my life as a little chaotic, but a lot of freedom. I spend most of my time obsessing about running, specifically trail running. But I'm a cook, a baker. I'm just a passionate human being. I've been living in Colorado for just about 4 years by way of Texas, where I lived for just over 11. But I was born and raised in San Diego. So I feel like the common things people perceive of people from those places, I feel I inhabit some of that. California, I'm chill, I'm laid back, I'm easygoing.
Yeah.
But I'm also very ambitious, sometimes a little overly ambitious.
Yeah.
And then Texas, I don't know, I just love Texas.
Yeah.
This is home now, though.
Yeah. Your family lives in Austin, right?
They're south of Austin.
South of Austin.
Canyon Lake.
Okay.
It's called. Yeah, we moved there right after my freshman year of high school.
Cool.
I started, we left a week after I finished my freshman year.
Yeah.
To start training and conditioning for a football season, which
nice.
I'm a small dude, but I played football. They put me on defense in Texas at a 5A school. It was a really incredible experience, though. I had a lot of fun there.
Nice. The football there is no joke.
Yeah.
What position did you play?
I was a safety, free safety. And
nice.
By play, I mean I was on the team.
Yeah. You practiced.
I did some special team stuff.
That's funny.
But I was a part of that group.
Yeah.
A part of that team, and learned so much about just myself and life and people. And I think I carry a lot of the lessons I learned from that program to now.
Nice. So were you an athlete previously? Did you take any sports super seriously? Because we'll get into it, but I know you're a huge trail runner, and that's how we met. And yeah, we'll get into that. But curious as to how the journey began.
Mm-hmm. I think sports movement there's been a natural progression throughout my life, but it started out with, my parents, I don't know if it was conscious decisions, but I started out very early on. So I have a sister, she's just over a year and a half younger than me. I played soccer, kindergarten, first grade. And then we did martial arts from, I think maybe 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah. Until
we left California when I was 15.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Okay.
And we did Chinese Kenpo.
Okay.
Just very basic, foundational.
Yeah. What do you remember from that?
I think one of the main things I learned was just confidence.
Yeah.
In your abilities and yourself.
Right.
In my abilities and myself.
Right.
What can you do? Discipline is the main thing. And there's a thread there through my whole life up to now and in the future. But I think, we had 3 days a week or whatever it was. And then we'd have the belt promotion, and we'd have the, it's called kata. So there's this piece of, it's choreographed movement that you have to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was building a foundation of discipline. It's kind of the main takeaway.
For sure.
And then just movement. And I tried to play basketball.
Yeah.
For a summer.
Yeah.
But I stopped going to the practices because it was a spring. Got a report card. It's failing in class. So I wasn't allowed to go.
Yeah.
So basketball, I never really gave any more. I didn't pursue again.
Mm-hmm.
Running, I've always run. I love to run everywhere from the time I was little.
Yeah.
My parents tell me that I used to point at like we're at a park or whatever, and I ask, "Can I run there?" I don't remember that myself, but they've told me that.
Yeah.
And there's like videos here and there of me just running around, dancing, you know, just moving, being happy, and being a kid, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's movement is such an expression of like creativity, and I feel like as when we're kids, we're always moving around, we're always like touching things and being super curious about the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you kind of slowly start to lose that as you begin to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so super interesting. But yeah, I mean, I think getting into like what you're doing now. So how long have you been trail running for?
So we can give a little context to that.
Yeah.
I didn't compete in running until my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
They threw me into the 400, 4x2, 4x4. I think I did some field events, triple, long jump. I wanted to be a sprinter, but then found out I was decent at the open 400 and the mile relay.
Okay.
I ran an okay times. I think 54 or something like that was my first, which is, I don't even think I could run that now.
Yeah.
Not that fast, but very different from what I'm doing now. Anyway, I ran sophomore, junior year. Senior year, I ran one meet.
Okay.
Only one, because repeat, failing a class. Didn't get the grade up in time. I gave the effort and I tried. I still went to practices, still went to meets that were at home.
Yeah.
The ones that I could go to, but it wasn't happening. Running was that piece that I thought there was some kind of pursuit there. I thought, I could go to college for this.
Yeah.
Pipe dream. No clue how to get there. No clue what that meant.
Yeah.
You know, I had a goal. It was beat the school record of the 400, which was like 48.9 or something. So far from that. Didn't know what the training would be like to get there. Had no clue what that really meant. However, I knew I loved something about it. About the pursuit and having the goal.
Yeah.
And putting yourself through that training. I just didn't know what that meant. So after I graduated, I ran a 5K. The San Antonio Rock and Roll Marathon 5K.
Nice.
Just for fun. I didn't know anyone who was running. I just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how far a 5K was, you know?
Yeah.
Turns out it's 3.1 miles and it's not as long as I thought. I bought shoes the day before at the expo.
Nice.
That I ran in, and I kept those shoes for 5 or 6 years.
Nice.
Way too long. Not that I ran much, but I kept those shoes. I ran for 7.5 years. I had a very casual, inconsistent relationship with running. So I'd run anywhere from no times to 3 times a week for years.
Yeah.
I would go to the track with my dad and run 1 mile. No warm up, no stretch, nothing.
Yeah.
Or we'd go around the neighborhood, run whatever, 2-3 miles, whatever that is.
Yeah. And
then in Texas, I'd run in the neighborhoods there where I lived. It was hilly. There's a little bit of trail near the house, and we'd go with the dogs. I had 2 Dobermans growing up.
Nice.
Missed them.
Great dogs.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun out there in the hill country in Texas, and that was kind of the main thing I would do outside. Besides, swimming and football and all that, but
what was life like? What were you doing then? Like after when you were running 0 to 3 times a week, like what were you working?
What was consuming my time?
Yeah.
So that was sophomore to senior year of high school. Just school and football practice and stuff like that. But then after I graduated, I started working in kitchens.
Okay.
And that, as obsessed as I am now with running, was how I viewed and pursued cooking. I don't even know how I discovered it, but there's a cookbook called The French Laundry, which is a still 3-star restaurant in Napa Valley, California. There's a documentary on Netflix called Food Inc.
Okay.
That kind of exposes food systems, big agriculture.
Okay.
You get a look behind the veil of what that is.
Yeah.
And then Chef's Table. I watched the first season of that and was like, I have to do that. How do I get there?
Yeah.
Again, no clue how to get there, but I knew I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I started pursuing that. And that's how I ended up in Austin, went to culinary school there. And it's a whole story I'm sure we'd get into. But
Yeah.
I learned a lot about myself and agriculture and cooking and that world and the world through cooking.
Yeah.
As the medium.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on what you mean? Like what specifically you mean by that?
Yeah. So my thought process was I need to get to the West Coast or New York.
Right.
Something like that, because that's where it's happening.
That's where the scenes are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, I moved to Austin for culinary school.
Mm-hmm.
I only did half the program because even at 19, I knew it wasn't set up right. It was just a weird structure to the curriculum, and it felt off. I was also working at an incredible restaurant. After a couple jobs that didn't work out, I wound up at this restaurant for a little less than 2 years. And this is what I mean by, I found myself in a place that was doing everything that I wanted to do and more. So there's my first 2 weeks at this restaurant. I did an offsite event with two of the owners. So I got to cook with them and just threw myself into everything. You know, there's another thread there of just saying yes.
Yeah.
To things in life. You have to be open to opportunities. Did that event. I had my 21st birthday there. I went to the farmers markets on Saturdays. They'd go, I think, to 3 markets and pick up the first half of the week.
Okay.
Produce, meat, dairy, dry goods, all that.
Yeah.
And I just spent a lot of time in that restaurant learning about, we did everything in house with from raw ingredients to the plate.
Cool.
With having those relationships with the farmers, ranchers, and artisans in Austin and the surrounding areas. And I found that an incredible number of people pour everything into resources, passion, time, money into this food culture. And I didn't understand that before, and then I was finding myself in it. And we did our own preserves and fermentations.
Cool.
They did whole animal butchery. There's a bakery program there for bread and sweets, and they did viennoiserie too. Okay. For brunch. And then everything from the pickles on your plate, the bread, the sauces. Nice. The meat. Yeah. It's all done there. And I just found that to be completely, I was just so excited to see that. Yeah. And then I was doing it. Yeah. And I made so many amazing connections there, people that I'm still friends with. And that was November of 2015 when I moved to Austin. And I was at that restaurant by April of 16. Okay. So 9 years ago. Yeah. It's a long time.
That is a long time.
Not really in the scope of things, but it's a while.
For your life.
For my life. Yeah. It's a third of my life. Yeah. So I'm 30 now.
Yeah. Happy belated birthday, by the way, too.
Thank you.
No, that's interesting. I have a few friends who work in restaurants and work in, and deal with food. And there's something like, I feel like if you have that genetic disposition for that to be like of interest to you and like be in the kitchen and understand like all these things are moving, but it's almost like chaos, like beauty in the chaos, right? Like you're pushing out these, these items
crazy.
Amongst like just everybody reaching over each other and like
it's a dance.
Tons of shit going on. Yeah.
It's a weird business.
Yeah.
I love it. Not the way I used to, but I appreciate it. Yeah. And I have a deep passion still for it in my own pursuits with it now, but it's a crazy business. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Never has. Never will. Half the restaurants don't last. Right. But the ones that do, it's pretty incredible. In fact, that restaurant started as a food truck. They now have 4 restaurants. They have their own farm.
Nice.
With 3 restaurants.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love I think my intro to like culinary and just restaurants in general is Bourdain.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bourdain's like I watch all of his stuff.
Yeah.
His books, his
I
documentaries,
was
like
just watching one last night.
nice. Yeah. He's such a cool guy.
The best.
Yeah.
They're doing a film on him.
Yeah.
A24 is directing a film.
Oh, no way.
Or I think they're filming now
Okay.
in Mass. I think,
Okay,
somewhere on
cool.
the East Coast.
Yeah. Because I think he grew up in Mass, maybe.
I don't know if he grew up there, but he spent time
Yeah,
there. I think that's
yeah.
where he started his career.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
I think so. I think you're right.
So there was an original question, but coming back to running.
Yeah.
Have you been to Austin?
I have been to Austin. Yeah.
Do you
I ran the
know-
Austin Marathon 2
Really?
years ago. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
3 years ago, maybe. Yeah.
How was your experience there?
It was awesome. That was my first time going, and then I was like, what better way than to run my first marathon? Yeah. I thought it was really cool. I didn't realize how far south it was in Texas, and like how much the like Mexican culture influences. Like
Mhm.
I didn't piece that together. I, in hindsight, should have, but like the food there was incredible.
Yes.
The people, like all really cool. It seems like it's a great like social place too. Like there's a lot of like shit going on.
Yeah.
Comedy scene,
So many
live
industries
music. Yeah.
have been
Yeah.
popping off there.
Yeah.
But like you said, that the experience there is, we joke about it, but it's like, it's not Texas.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm sure like like real Texans, like
Different.
yeah, I bet they're like, oh, Austin's.
There's elements though,
Yeah,
in
for
both.
sure.
But in Austin, there's the lake, Lady Bird
Mhm.
Lake.
Mhm.
It's a river. It's called Guadalupe River, but the section is Lady Bird Lake.
Mhm.
I don't know what's going on there. However, there's dirt paths around it.
Yeah.
And some paved.
Yeah.
And the green belt is connected to that.
Mhm.
And I thought that was trail running. And I would jog there maybe a little more frequently. But I mean, I look back at my 2018 to 2020-ish,
Yeah.
even 17, my Nike Run Club app. I think I had a max of 205 miles on there.
Yeah.
The whole year.
Right.
I do that in 2 weeks now. Like, not
Yeah.
every week, but
Yeah.
you know. So I was
Shout out the
kind of running.
Nike Run Club app too.
Yeah.
That's such like a first runner app. I think
It
that was
is.
mine too.
It's cool. You
Yeah.
get your map, your times, and all the
Yeah.
data.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ran. I would swim a little bit. I got into cycling
Mhm.
through my own just curiosity.
Mhm.
I had a friend who had a bike. She was gone on a work abroad or study abroad program.
Mhm.
For 6 months, I borrowed her old road bike, a really cool Trek
Cool.
bike. One of the first like carbon fork, super light,
Nice.
sick
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah.
I just started ripping
Yeah.
on that, started commuting on it. And
Yeah.
then the day after she got back, I went and bought my own bike. Had that for 2.5 years,
Nice.
commute on it, go big rides. I even rode a Century kind of on a whim.
Cool.
Just had like a
Yeah.
7-hour, 6-hour day.
Nice.
Cool experience. So there's a seed planted there that I was watering.
Yeah.
Pertaining to endurance.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anybody else who was in that space. Like I never rode with anybody until, besides when you're young, you ride with people, but
yeah.
like road riding, I just wasn't around it, the culture or
Yeah.
anything. But that bike got stolen.
Mm.
So I had it for 2.5 years. I was 19, I think, when I
Okay.
didn't have it anymore.
Dang.
So there's a gap there.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when did you move to Colorado? Because you live in Golden now, but did
Mhm.
you start in Denver? I think I remember.
Mhm.
I think I remember that you started in Denver, but when was
Yes.
that? And yeah, like how was that experience moving from Texas to Colorado?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was cool. I had a lot of fun. I moved here with my ex
Okay.
girlfriend at the time. Couple reasons. There was a job I was applying to, was going through the process of, and the timing was such as there's a couple things that lined up. She wanted to leave, get out of Texas. I wanted to go somewhere new. I had been here before.
Yeah.
We checked it out once. I think it was like, our lease is ending. Are we going to resign? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we just said, let's go. So we came. And that was, I think, summer of 21.
Okay.
End of summer.
Okay.
And we checked out a couple places. We lived down south and then closer to Rhino.
Yeah.
Maybe it was technically Rhino. And I think I ended up, that was probably 3 years lived in Denver.
Okay.
Just a little under.
Nice.
We ended up breaking up. She, just before she left, a few months, I had started running with a friend. My first mountain trail run. We went to Bear Peak.
In Boulder. Nice.
We didn't even get to the peak.
Yeah.
It was
It's so steep.
50+ mile winds. February, so it's icy still.
Yeah.
I had road shoes on. Some cotton hoodie thing.
Yeah.
Just the wrong gear.
Right.
But the stoke,
Yeah.
the adventure,
Yeah.
the exploration was,
Yeah.
it had me by its grips. And I'm like, I have to sink my teeth into this.
Yeah.
And I found that throughout my life.
Yeah.
Those things that I like, that I gravitate to, I'm going to go all in on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what that meant at the time.
Right.
But what it meant for me in that phase was, I'm going to run an ultra. Because one of the guys I was running with, he had done marathons, and the other one, he had ran Leadville.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other ultras.
Yeah.
A few times. And so we'll backtrack a little bit. I used to listen to Rogan, and I remember he had on Zach Bitter, Courtney DeWalter, Cam Hanes, David Goggins.
Yeah.
Throughout whatever couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Seeds.
Yeah.
Planted.
Yeah.
Never watered them, but there's something there. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
People run 100 miles?
Yeah.
What? And when we moved here, a couple of our hikes, I remember seeing, specifically on one hike to Chicago Lakes, there's a section it's hike, you're just going up at 12K or 10, whatever it is.
Right.
It might not
High.
even be that high.
Yeah.
But there was a woman running past us.
Mm.
And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Running past you uphill.
Yes.
Yeah.
On a trail.
Yeah. That's something that I immediately noticed when I moved out here from Georgia. Originally from Georgia. I moved out here 2 years ago. I just noticed in how good of cardiovascular shape everybody is out here, like for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But like you talk to people and you like, that's how we met. We met at Red Rocks on one of the trails. Right outside of Golden, Morrison. And I had just started trail running because I said, all right, hey, I'm here in Colorado. I'm going to sign up for the Leadville 50-mile race. Like
that was your one.
Let's send it. That was the one. That was
Whoa.
like, I like picked that one because I was like, I'm too much of a pussy to do the 100 right now.
Right. That's crazy.
That'd be great. That'd be like, cause like you see Nick Bear doing it. You're like, all right, that's like a little much.
It's hardcore.
Yeah. But I signed up for the 50 miler and I'm the type of person where like, I'll sign up for it, but I'll sign up for it like a year in advance.
Yeah.
So that I can like make sure that I'm like I know I'm going to cross the finish line. And so I think we met maybe in like January or February of the race was in July. One of my first few trail runs because the trails were just like opening up. Mm-hmm. It was still super, super muddy. Mm-hmm. But I remember I was running and then I think you ran like you were like flying past me. I don't know. I could be misremembering this, but you were like flying past me and like I think you said something to me or I said something to you. And then we ended up
Speedland.
Yes, that was it. That was it.
That was it. The connection.
Yeah. The shoes.
I think I have a lot of friends now where we made a connection like that.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Organic. These are the best connections.
Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be on trail, but specifically on trail, a few people like that have come into my life.
Yeah.
Right. And in a number of different ways, we're still, active participants in each other's lives.
Totally.
And friends.
Totally. I think the best part, social media gets a lot of flack and for good reason. Mm-hmm. But I think like one of the best parts about it for me is that like we haven't hung out in like a year. Like we had hung out a few times after that run,
Mm-hmm.
but like we had like kept in contact. Like I feel like I'm always like, I know exactly what you're doing and you
Yes.
know exactly what I'm doing. Like, and that's like that. There's a lot of those friendships that have like people that I consider like good friends that like
Mm-hmm.
I don't see, you know, I see maybe once a year or whatever. So I think it's like a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I always see you doing like cool shit. Like you're on like a Tuesday, you're like out in like BV doing a scramble or something up at 13,000 feet or, so yeah, I guess just tell the folks, like, what are you training for at the moment and kind of like your pedigree, over the past few years since you've got into trail running.
Yeah. So my first trail race was April of 23.
Cool.
That was that February that I had done that trail run, mountain run with a friend.
Yeah.
And I was dabbling. We did Mondays, kind of like a long run,
Mm-hmm.
a couple hours, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
That was me putting my toes in the water. And then circling back real quick, my ex, we'd broken up. She had left. I had already signed up for this race. And it was a 50K. And I had a really cool experience. My longest run before running 31 miles was 17 miles.
Okay.
Not that long.
Yeah. It's a big
You can
difference.
get it
You learn a
done.
lot about yourself in those 14 extra miles.
Yeah.
For sure.
About your body, your spirit, your mind, all that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the first, okay, I want to do this.
Yeah.
To what extent, who knows? But I just want to keep pursuing it. So I've ran a bunch of 50Ks races and just in training. And I just did my second 100K in February at Black Canyon Ultras.
Nice. Yeah.
That went good for the most part. Not perfect.
And folks, just I think because it might not come off like when you say good, what do you mean? What do you mean good?
I set myself up with seemingly unattainable goals,
which was
in life.
Yeah.
For everything.
To win the race? Was it to win the race?
No, for this race, no way. I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I understand what those guys and those women
right
where they are. My goal was 8 hours.
For 100K.
For 100K, which is 7:30 pace. Right, roughly.
Which is unbelievable, by the way.
Pretty damn fast.
That's like nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like people,
My thought process was, I had this easy, feel good, got away with a lot of mistakes. 50K that took me just under 4 hours.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can double that.
Did you podium that one?
That one I won.
That one you won.
That was my first win.
Nice.
Just a race that I signed up for the day before because I knew I wanted a 4-hour day.
Yeah.
And it was flat. It was like 3K climbing.
It was up in Fort Collins?
No, that one was down in Greenland.
Okay.
So between Castle Rock and Colorado Springs.
Yeah. Okay.
Right off the highway there. It's beautiful. It was a perfect day.
Yeah.
It's cool. I think I had sleeves on most of the time, gloves halfway through.
Yeah.
A number of things happened in that race, but I ended up winning. And what's so funny about it, and this is like, I really love this, is that there was one dude who I wasn't even chasing, but he had a bad race.
Yeah.
I got lucky in a number of ways, but crossing the finish line, there was 2 people taking care of timing. That's it. Oh, and one like someone supporting one of the
there were no fans.
Other guys. No, there's no one there. There's like, who cares?
Yeah.
But I passed through and I was just walking around, and there's 3 other distances I think that day.
Okay.
I go down, I have a slice of pizza, some water, I'm hanging out, and nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody even knows the race is up. The race director, I had a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool, you finished. Blah, blah, blah. Like later.
He didn't know you won.
He didn't know I won.
Yeah.
Even though I was the 20K or the 50K runner.
Yeah.
Until 30 minutes later.
Was there a shorter distance than 50K that he
Those
thought
25, 10, 5.
He probably thought you were a 25K.
Right.
He was like, oh, this guy did have an average day at the office.
Yes. There's like 300 people there or whatever.
It's funny.
And it was an average run. It's like nothing crazy.
Yeah.
No course record or anything. But for me, it was like, oh, I can be kind of good at this.
Yeah.
It's like 3:55 or something like that.
Yeah.
7:29 pace. Which at the time I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's cool. It's good.
Yeah.
It's not
super fast.
It's good.
Just to pause, because like this might not be conveying. Like he ran 31 miles at a 7:29 pace in 3 hours and 55 minutes at elevation with 3,000 feet of gain, which like some people would kill for that time running like a road marathon, like at least like that was my first goal, was like sub 4.
Break 4.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like putting that into context, like how like absolutely unbelievable that is.
I'll give that perspective too. I totally had the same goal. I didn't run a marathon before my 50K.
Yeah.
I had a coworker within 6 months of me running that race.
Yeah.
And her telling me she had ran a marathon in 3:59 or whatever. And I'm like, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So that was, first win. It was cool. And I have this perspective of like, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's solid. It's not bad or anything at all. I just think I don't have an issue or there's no negatives to this, but I'm like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Who else? Who's faster?
Yeah.
What are the top people?
Yeah.
Where are they at? And that's a training day, for them.
Right.
And that's just in my nature. Like I want to pursue excellence.
Yeah.
So
now I think you're chasing 100-miler. Is that right?
Yeah.
What are you running? What's the race?
Yeah. So Caleb Efta, I believe how you pronounce it. He's one of the he's the founder, race director of High Lonesome.
Yeah.
100-miler.
Yeah.
And technically it's Nathrop, but just outside of Buena Vista.
Yep.
It's 23,500 feet of gain. I think the cutoff is 37 hours. There's 19:30 is the course record, somewhere around there.
Okay.
For men, and then just over 22 for the women.
Okay.
But yeah, he gifted me a spot.
That's unbelievable. Is he a friend?
No, through a series of serendipitous events and a couple of friends speaking on my behalf.
Nice.
I was gifted that spot.
Because I've heard it's pretty difficult to get in.
Yeah,
right?
so this year they've increased the number of runners every year by 25.
Okay.
And this is the 7th year, but the 5th year of the running, I think, because COVID.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 years canceled. So 225 this year. And I don't know the number of applicants, but it's a lot. There's a lot of people on the wait list.
Yeah.
And there's a lottery party in January.
Yeah.
At Law's Whiskey House, one of the sponsors. And there's a pass. You get to 13 something, and it's called Law's Pass.
Yeah.
So at mile 20 something, you start getting on this out and back up over the pass.
Yeah.
To your first aid, your crude aid, and then back up and over the pass, and then you continue on this big loop.
And so is that the high point of the race? Is it 13 plus, or does it get
I think
to usually
just
like a 14?
over 13.
Okay.
Twice.
Okay.
I believe.
And the whole race is pretty much.
You average over 10.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's long. It's not crazy steep.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a lot of climbing,
23,000 feet over 100 miles.
Right.
For reference, the Leadville 100 is 15 or 16,000.
Just under 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had, since last year at Leadville, I've been able to pace 4 different people at 3 different 100-milers. So I've had this really, for me, it's like a unique experience in that space.
Right.
Where I got to pace at Leadville someone who got 5th, and then someone who finished within half an hour of the cutoff.
Yeah. And
then I paced a friend who finished her first 100 at Saddles 100.
Yeah.
In Prescott, Arizona.
Okay.
And then her pacer, we became friends, and I paced her 3 weeks later at Javelina.
Nice.
And I paced her at Javelina. Oh no, it was Saddles. The day before I paced my friend 25 miles at Saddles, I did rim to rim with my friends.
Holy shit. Which is 49 miles
48,
or something like that. Yeah.
11K game.
Yeah.
So it was a big weekend.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was incredible. And that's what I do this for, is those experiences.
Right.
The camaraderie.
Right.
And just terrain exploration.
Yeah.
Getting to see amazing places.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Buena Vista.
Exactly. So pretty over there.
Yeah.
I was just out there last weekend. It's
really?
beautiful. Yeah.
So part of the race runs on Colorado Trail.
Yeah.
And then Continental Divide.
Nice.
Trail.
Yeah.
So there's some more technical parts, it's a various or a huge variety of terrain.
Yeah. And so is this would be your first like official 100-mile race?
First 100, yeah.
Have you ever run that distance, not an official race?
No. So my longest distances, and I think about it like this: I have 200Ks.
Yeah.
First one took 12:20 something, okay. And then the next one was 9:40. And then I have had days like rim to rim, mm-hmm. where technically we're out there for 18 hours.
Right.
Because it was 6 of us, the more the merrier, but also
slower.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing experience. If you haven't gone.
I haven't done it yet. I want to do it.
Even just to go down to the ranch and back would be sick. But so that was, 12 hours time on feet.
Yeah.
Is my max right now. And then I've had a few last summer. My friend Luke Webster, I met through a photo shoot. I did my first one in January last year, and that's a whole new thing in my life.
Yeah.
It's taking off, but he's my roommate now, but was sort of my mountain guide and kind of introduced me to a lot of new places, mm-hmm. and introduced me to me as a runner in ways.
Yeah.
I've grown a lot through our friendship.
That's awesome.
But we shared a few days out there, I think end of summer, fall last year, where, tag a few 14ers and do some link ups. And we had a couple of days where we'll say like the way it started was the first one was it was like 11,000 feet of gain, mm-hmm. in a 10-hour day. And then the next day we did 7 hours, we did 9,000.
So you're bagging 20,000 feet over a span of...
Yeah, it's like 25 and 20 miles, something like that.
Yeah.
He thought he broke me on the first day, and then we just did that the next day. I'm like, it's fine. We can keep doing this.
Yeah.
I ran 100 miles that week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I never ran that much with like 28K gain or something like that.
It's unreal.
There's some people who keep that up and more.
Right.
That's just where they are.
Right.
It's nutty.
So, yeah. So, I mean, I think that just talking about like obsession, I've been thinking a lot about this idea of obsession, and like, mm-hmm. originally the way I've approached things, like just hobbies, is like, I want to be 80% better than everybody else. Right. Like I want to be like, good enough, at the things that don't directly like feed me. Right. Because I know I'm not going to be a professional trail runner. I know I'm not going to be a professional jiu-jitsu athlete, but like I want to be in the 80th to 90th percentile, mm-hmm. because it's like enough obsession, but not too much to where it takes away from like what I, like actually brings income and like feeds me.
Totally. But
it sounds like you're wired different. Like it sounds like you want to be in the 100th percentile of things. Would you say that that's accurate?
Oh yeah.
And okay, so you're sounds like you're obsessed. Like how, I'm struggling with this question, but like, could you explain like what it's like to just be that focused on one thing for such a long time, right? Like years and years at a time. You're running every single day. You're going out for the most part. What keeps you going? Like what keeps you, mentally strong and wanting to surpass those goals and do those crazy things?
So I'll say there's 3 things, but before that, the thread of obsession in my life, it's always a thing.
Yeah. And
the first real thing was cooking. And I wanted to be a chef at a fancy restaurant, at a Michelin restaurant.
Yeah.
So I pursued that, and I realized it's not a grass is greener thing, but it's like, oh, this is not what I thought, for a number of reasons. I loved what I was doing, but then I realized I pivoted to baking, and then I probably made in 6 years 40,000 loaves of bread, give or take, probably more. But I spent a lot of time doing that. I even worked at a mill I would even just volunteer there at first.
Yeah.
And I did all kinds of activities within that space to help me better understand it and dive super deep, because I wanted to be, you know, as good as, if not better than, always as good as though, someone like, you know, Tartine Bread, you know, Chad Robertson is, a baker in bakery owner, business owner in California. There's a ton of bakeries over there in California, and there's some in South Korea now.
Okay.
But just kind of like this specific style of baking, he helped contextualize it, put it in books.
Cool.
And it's spread around the world.
Cool.
So I wanted to pursue that, and I got pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Make good bread. In fact, I'm foraying into that myself now, starting a pop-up. It's called Sometimes Pizza.
Let's go.
It's not always pizza,
Okay.
but sometimes it's pizza.
And what does this pop up? Where is it? Like at farmers markets?
It's right now, possibly, but right now just at my house, and it's like private dinners.
Heck yeah.
So catering, pop-ups, run clubs.
I want to buy some.
Yeah. We'll get it going soon.
Heck yeah.
I did the first one last week. It was just a dinner party for a friend.
Cool.
10 people.
Yeah.
But the food will vary. You know, I like a lot of different foods.
Yeah.
But bread, naturally leavened something, will be a part of that.
Yeah.
Pizza's just like a good common denominator.
Yeah.
I think most people love pizza. If they
Right.
don't, I probably don't want to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Not that it's
No,
bad.
I'm with you, dude. I love pizza. I fucking love pizza. It's so good.
One, gluten is free. Pizza's delicious.
Yeah.
And you can put anything you want on it.
Yeah.
But the dough, that's the foundation of it.
Right.
And that's what I obsess over.
Yeah.
And it still holds space within my head.
Yeah.
And my heart. I'm super passionate about it still. Back to the three things. So for running, I've contextualized it this way for myself. I derive a lot from it.
Mm.
But to put it in a simple manner, it's discipline, joy, and community. So discipline we touched on earlier.
Right.
It's having this goal, this pursuit, and all the little goals along the way.
Yeah.
Right now it's a 100-miler. Right now I'm running 10K plus a week. I have 60 to 70 miles ish right now. We'll ante it up a little bit more. After a down week next week, I'll have some peak weeks. Within that, I focus a lot. My roommate, he's told me before, I've never seen anybody do so much related to running. And he's friends with professionals.
Yeah.
And he spent time with people who like do this for a living.
Right.
I'm sure he's exaggerating a little bit, but
Yeah.
I want to cross all my T's and dot all my I's. That's the only way you can run 70, 80, 90 miles a week.
Right. It's just being really prepared with like, you know, with work and other obligations, right? Like,
Yeah.
You only have so much time.
Exactly. And for me, that looks like, you know, most days of the week, it's I have an activation. I have a little stretching in the morning, you know, 5 minutes just to make sure everything's fluid.
Mm.
But before runs, there's activation, you know, warm up.
Yeah.
And then post run, I at least 5 minutes, if that, you know, most people don't, but at least 5 of stretching.
Yeah.
I use a massage gun. I go in the sauna. I cold plunge. I do mobility, strength. And then when I can, like, get a massage.
Mm.
And then I started writing a little bit too about my runs, just to have, you know, some kind of format, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's the discipline aspect. And I mean, so far, so good. I have had one injury, you know, slight weird thing that happened with an ankle. It's gone now because I focus on it. I did a lot of ISO, mobility, and strength to rehab it. It's not even a thought anymore. I just remembered it. This is months ago.
Yeah.
But I haven't thought about it in weeks. And then the community.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Exhibit A.
Exactly.
It's expanded into this whole new thing for me, where I started modeling for running and athletic stuff last January, and now I've done a couple other shoots for like City of Denver and tourism and stuff like that.
Nice.
I was lucky enough to be sent somewhere for a photo shoot. Went to Tenerife for
Nice.
almost 2 weeks.
Where is it?
It's a territory of Spain.
Okay.
It's off the coast of Morocco and the Canary Islands.
Dude, there could be worse places to be sent.
Yeah.
Who was that with?
Hoka.
Hoka. Nice, dude.
Yeah, it's a campaign coming out, I believe fall,
Okay.
and then spring next year.
Nice.
So you shoot a lot of SKUs, and it's video, stills,
Yeah.
for, multi-platform marketing.
Yeah.
Instagram, YouTube, videos, whatever.
Yeah. What are some other brands? Because I know you've done a good bit of shoots or a good bit of like product demos and things like that.
Mhm.
Like what are some other brands that you've done that with? I think I vaguely remember Arc'teryx. Was that one of them?
No, I haven't done anything with them. Done some events with them,
Okay. Yeah.
but Rourke,
yeah.
Run Amok specifically, they have a cool, really, I mean, it's just a really cool look.
Yeah.
Their clothing and the prints and colors and
Yeah.
patterns and stuff. Did work with them. I have another one coming up with them. I've done some work with Hoka, Rourke, Ascent Protein.
Yeah. I saw that today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Runner. Do you know the brand Runner?
Mhm. Yeah.
We did a quick little shoot with them.
That's cool.
Topo. That was my first one, and I've done a few since.
Hmm.
Topo Athletic,
Okay.
not Topo Designs.
Which is the water bottles that they
Topo
have, or they
Chico.
Yeah, it's
You
I
said
know
water.
it's a different thing.
No, so
Um,
Topo Athletic is shoes
Okay.
mainly. They've been around
Don't
for
they
over
have
a
hats,
decade.
too? They have hats. I feel like I've seen a hat in like REI.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I've never seen them REI. That's probably Topo Designs, who's based in Colorado.
Okay.
They make cool.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Unique
thinking
clothing.
of. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh.
So good little variety.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to take up too much longer. But yeah, let's I'll ask you, I guess, like one more question on this 100 miler. And then one final question that I'm going to ask every guest, and you're my first guest.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think going back to the 100 miler High Lonesome, we talked about what training looks like. We talked about obsession, and I think obsession is required to do something like that. And so I want to, get your thoughts on like, what does success look like in the training and race day? Like, what does success look like to you? Is it finishing? Is it showing up to the start line? Is it putting in the work before? Like, what does success look like to you? Is it winning it? Everybody has their different things. And so, I'm curious to get your answer.
Yeah, I was smiling when you said that because I'm realizing I left off the last tag of that.
Yeah.
Discipline, joy, community, and it's joy.
Yeah.
That's success to me. Is being happy.
Yeah.
That's not a constant, ever. But if you can pursue something, if you can find something that gives you joy, chase it. And it looks different for everyone. For me, it happens to be running 100 miles, but I think, it's like I said, those goals along the way, every week, every run. I mean, I had a run on Tuesday after my long run. It was medium long and just get time on feet. You want to get a run on some tired legs.
Yep.
Decent vert. I almost cried on my run. It was so beautiful outside.
Yeah.
There was like there was mist. It was foggy, a little drizzle. Yeah. And it's just so lush and green right now because spring is springing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. The rain.
It is.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that give me joy, and where I find I'm most content. And a lot of the times, if I can share that with people, that's even cooler.
Yeah.
Which is tying back to the community. And that's what a part of this specific race is, the allure to it is the community.
Mm-hmm.
The race directors are from here. The volunteers, live and train here. I'm friends with one of them, the volunteer director,
Cool.
David Fox. He has a group in Golden called Golden Mountain Runners. They started over a decade ago, I think.
Nice.
I've made a lot of cool friends there. I live half mile from where we started runs, so
Super convenient.
mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, getting the aid stations. There's good community there that I've experienced in other races too, but this one, there's something special about it.
Yeah.
I haven't been yet, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
A lot. And I have friends who will be at aid station captains.
Mm-hmm.
I have a good crew of people who are going to be supporting me there.
Mm.
Crewing and pacing.
Nice.
And then the people running, I think I know personally 10 people who are running, which, I mean, it's a Colorado race. It's a local race. It's not that crazy, but 5 of them are going to be up there, top 10, maybe me. With one of them being one of my training partners, Addie Bracy.
Okay.
She's the vet of the sport. She's been at it forever.
Yeah.
I think 25 years now.
Yeah.
Professionally, when she started running, and then she's become professional.
Yeah.
Since she runs for Nike Trail now,
Nice.
but she's just a wealth of wisdom and of knowledge, and I just learned a lot from her, even just from being with her.
Yeah.
In the space, we had a run last week. We got up to 12K. So there's like a place that she knows you can go run because it's 15 minutes away from her, where we can get to 12K with this much snow.
Mm.
And so we got a 5K day
Nice.
in a little under 7 miles. It's kind of a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was something. No. I'm wrong. A little over 12.
Okay.
Because it was
But that's still
2 laps.
Yeah.
Steep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it. My goal is to run with her at High Lonesome. And I know what that means because I know her.
Yeah.
She's a vet of the
Yeah.
sport, and she's really strong.
Yeah.
Much stronger than me. And maybe I can get there.
Right.
Maybe I'll be there.
Yeah.
And that's a goal. And by a goal, I mean like ABC. That would be success.
Yeah.
If not, then it's run with her for 50 miles, and then I hold back a little. Whatever happens. But get all my food down. Keep the positivity. I think that's a thing I'm good at. In some ways, compartmentalizing is not beneficial in life. If you're not paying attention, it can be detrimental. But in running, ultras, specifically this 100-miler, I think that's going to be a huge strength.
Yeah.
Like, this mile wasn't good. Cool. On
Get
to the
over
next
it.
one. Just
Move
keep
on.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my original goal is 24 or 25 hours, but that's not really what I care about. What I care about is enjoying the experience.
Yeah.
And sharing the experience with my community.
Yeah.
Having as much fun as I can, whatever that may mean in the span of 24 hours, we'll see.
Yeah.
And crossing the finish line. That's paramount. I have to finish.
You have to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the point you just made, though, I think the biggest gift is just being extremely present with all of the different emotions that come, that arise, when you're putting your body and your mind through that. I feel like after a certain amount of time, it's just a mind game. Like you're just, your body's torn up, and you're just stuck in your head, and you're like, how much further can I keep digging?
Can you commit to relentless forward progress?
Yeah. I remember you sent me that before the Leadville 50 miler.
I did?
Yeah. I think you DM'd me that on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a good, phrase.
Yeah.
I think it's powerful. Not just for running 100 miles. I think just in life, if, like I said, if there's something that makes you happy, that gives you joy, you should pursue it. People tell you don't. People tell you that's dumb. Whatever it is, like, I've made a lot of questionable decisions, up to this point, and I'm only 30, but I'm sure there's plenty more. But I hope that I've learned a majority of those lessons in making those mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like where I'm at now is there's a lot that I'm starting to see why things have happened the way they have happened, and also understanding myself why I am the way I am.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been really fun to explore that and learn that through the medium of running.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, one point there just around, like, we've never lived in a world where failure, you can fail as fast as possible and still be okay. Right? Like, we've never lived in this, like, the amount of opportunities that we have. And so, like, have you heard of Naval Ravikant?
No.
He's like a really cool thinker and investor and whatever. And that's what he says is, like, fail as much as you can, as early as you can, as quickly as you can, because that just makes you so much more robust. And the world selects for the people who are optimists throughout all the failures, right? Like, whatever, your job, running, sports, anything that you can think of. Exactly. Like, the more you fail and the more and I have to tell myself this shit all the time because I don't want to fail. I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't want to, but you realize that the world's never been so forgiving to failure, right? No one cares but you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, last final question. This has been a blast. I've learned a lot of cool shit, and I think folks will really love listening to this. But yeah, this is the question that I'm gonna start asking, I think, every guest. Do you think that you were born, or do you think that you were made?
You're born and then you're made.
Okay, so both.
I think both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be made? Wouldn't that be like you were born a certain way, but then you kind of crafted yourself into this person that you've always wanted to become?
I think everyone has the opportunity to choose.
Yeah.
For the most part. Not how they're made, but what they do with what they're given.
Yeah.
Because there's, like you just said, all the opportunity is out there. There's factors that will inhibit a lot of it or some of it, unfortunately, in some ways, but also I think one of my strengths is curiosity. And through the failures that I've experienced in life, I've maintained that curiosity and optimism.
Yeah.
Where, like, pivoting to baking.
Yeah.
Because I found it fit my strengths.
Right.
Or I just wanted to learn something new. And then with running, it was, I've had not good races, had not good runs, but you just got to keep going.
Yeah.
And that's the process. That's the making up.
Yeah.
So I think it's both.
Nice.
There's some things that are out of your control for sure.
Yeah, totally.
I got lucky with my genetics.
Right.
And I'm also figuring out a way to, what are my weaknesses? Let's maybe figure out how to expose them.
Yeah.
Not to tell people that I can't do this or won't do that, whatever. I mean, wasn't a good communicator for a long time. Maybe I'm still not. But I think through failing in relationships and jobs, because I can look back and I know because I didn't say something or do something about whatever the case was. But now I think I'm turning into a better communicator, and that was a weakness, I think. So hopefully I'm growing that.
Yeah, it's a good skill. Anything else you want to say for the folks at home?
No, I mean, I already said it. Just find the things that give you joy.
Yeah.
Pursue them. Don't listen to wisdom, but don't listen to everybody's 2 cents about everything.
Yeah.
Because you're the ruler of your world. So if you want some, just go for it.
Love it, man. Thanks for the time.
Yeah.
This was a blast.
Thanks to you.
Yeah.